I need to mute my television because it's playing.
Yep. You mute the you say that right as I switch everything on. You son of a bee. There goes our
Uh,
professionalism. Our entire
I
reputation
mean, if
out
you
the
give it
window. Go
30
mute.
more seconds, it would have gone away again.
Go mute your television. Yeah, we see you making that walk of shame. Uh, hello, everybody. As per usual, we can never get things perfect on the first time, but it has been a bit since we've streamed, and I was a little afraid that we were going to have some problems, but it seems like we are going to be 90% or at least 75% of the way through 75% of the way there. We are on the wrong lead. I am Josh at Cherry Drank. In the top right, you got the Wolf of Oak Lawn himself, Chase, at of Oak Lawn, and then on the bottom we got Mark at Two Turns. He is Pack Rat in chat. Chase is obviously Guy in the Ground, and I'm my Twitter handle, Cherry Drink. We wanted to get together and do a little end of year stream, talk a little bit about the year, and we'll go ahead with our second annual awards. We did something more Discord focused last year. Got some good and some bad feedback on how we did things. I don't think it was really heavy one way or the other. So, but there was something I've kind of wanted to try, so we're gonna try that today. Unfortunately, Caleb was unable to join us. Caleb is feeling a bit under the weather, extremely under the weather, actually. So, send him a message on Twitter or on Discord. Wish him well. Wish him that he gets better soon.
Or on Tinder, ladies.
At least you didn't say grinder. I thought you were gonna go with that, or no.
No.
Okay. But yeah, shout out to Caleb. We miss you. We'll see you soon here. Hopefully, with Santa Anita kicking back up, Caleb will be able to. We're talking about doing some more write-ups, so I think he might be writing something up for Santa Anita. So shout out to that. Mark, I want to start with you here real quick. Because Chase and I did a podcast. We did it last night. Got released. If you guys aren't following, obviously you can find it on any of your favorite podcast.
It dropped in hip hop speak.
Yeah, it dropped. And Chase and I talked a little bit about our 2021 wagering or handicapping resolutions. All right, we talked a little bit. What do we want to improve on for next year? I was talking a little bit more about game selection, about bankroll management. Chase is talking a little bit more about being more confident, having more of those high base bet wagers, and just making sure he's sticking to his plan that he develops every day. What about you, Mark? Have you really put any thought in, because I know right now it's just a kind of a downtime for everybody. Chase is got Aqueduct, but he's got a couple weeks or a week or two off. I've been playing Fairgrounds here and there and trying to focus on that. But, Chase, what are you thinking?
Wait, do I get to go first?
Or sorry, Mark. Chase? Mark, I don't know. I'm already a bourbon and a half.
We both have a beard and a suit and a tux shirt. So we're basically the same person.
Yeah, I already see Keep Pounding saying I'm wildly underdressed here. So
he is a little bit underdressed, but no, I think for me, a little bit of both of what you guys were talking about. I think this past year with COVID, everybody got bored in the spring. Everybody was a little nuts using handicapping and playing horses as a way of sort of stress relief. And I looked at my ROI towards the end of the year, and I went, "Ooh, there's some real ugly in there." So I think for me, it's going to be targeting tracks that I'm better at, and probably doing a lot of the chase thing. I think instead of focusing so horizontally on chasing pick fives, I'm going to be a little bit more levered, maybe some more doubles, some more levered pick threes, and then targeting tracks I'm better at. So it's fine to go, hey, it's Tuesday and I feel like playing Delta, but trying to really focus in on those tracks that I have better ROIs at. And I mean, I could list them off, but yeah, I think being a little, by picking those tracks and try to work in the ROI. And I think the other real thing I'd like to work a little bit on is playing some more tournaments. Got more into that. Played around with it a lot this year. Got fairly okay at it, and I think using some tournaments is a way of offsetting. Hey, I like this card, but maybe it's not one that I really feel I can wager real money at. A tournament might be a nice way to approach it.
Yeah, and I will definitely say, Mark, there was this stretch where like you were getting like really down on yourself, and I remember Chase and I had this conversation, and we're like, dude, this motherfucker just got like super good at tournaments in like 2 weeks, and just started like spiking stuff, and now he's just like getting mad because like he's got a little unlucky. It's like you just got to keep at it. But I definitely think that's been another kind of arsenal in your weapon there. You've cleared a couple decent tournaments there, and I know we talked a little bit offline about possibly doing a little bit more tournament content. So watch out for that, guys. We'll see either video or written. We haven't really decided too much. We're kind of just in high level talks on how we're going to kind of approach next year. But yeah, I mean anything we really want to kind of look back on from this past year, besides or before we get into the awards. I know we could probably sit here and talk about the emergence of Fauner Park and Will Rogers Downs. Yeah, exactly, Chase. But I feel like that was more out of just pure degeneracy than anything else. But yeah, I mean,
they will undoubtedly be referred to as the golden days of Fauner Park.
They're getting slot machines now. Those purses might go up by a couple $100.
I think when you look back at this year, you're going to see it was a very bizarre year from handicapping, and the fact of there's this sort of normal progression, which is you see these 2-year-olds that you can't wait to see back. You start seeing them at places like Oaklawn and Santa Anita over the winter as they're being built up and prepped up for the Derby, and then everything got shut down last year. So you had this big gap where horses just weren't running. The trainers aren't going to ship $1 million horse to Fauner. So you saw this very broken year where there was this, massive spring gap, and then everybody sort of tried to figure out how do you ramp up through the summer and the fall when sort of we got a little bit of normalcy and point towards the Breeders' Cup, and it led to the fact that there were a lot of 2-year-olds that I think we haven't seen. I think there's a lot of horses that are in training that are probably really good that just kind of haven't broken out yet. It was a real weird year from normal progression of sort of seeing those campaigns just didn't develop how you wanted to see. And I think it's going to be an aberration of a year. And I'm hoping we get back to a little more normalcy come 2021.
So question, is Sleepy Eyes Todd considered $1 million horse? Because he sure as hell won the stakes race at Fauner Park this year. Didn't he just win a stakes race this past week at Gulfstream?
Yeah. I mean, sure,
Yes.
sure.
Yes.
I mean, you had to find the one
The
exception.
one exception, Sleepy Eyes Todd. Oh goodness. Chase, what do you think?
What are we talking about?
This past year, is there anything you kind of seen from this past year?
It was just a weird year. I'm ready for a year where things are in order and as they should be in terms of how they kind of gear up for the preps and leading into the Breeders' Cup and everything. I'm excited to see if Santa Anita actually stays open through the spring this coming year. But yeah, I mean, there's nothing more that you can say about 2020 other than it was just a fucking bizarre year for horse racing with the closures and all of that. Just the influx of people playing horses whenever sports stopped and people had to degen on something, so they were instead of betting people's Twitch streams on Madden simulations, they were playing horses instead.
Yeah, I'm actually I'm a little interested coming up in about exactly a month, I think, how Oak Lawn's meet is going to look like this year. Oak Lawn at the end of that meet was the only game in town per se, but they got some really tough and salty fields. They got some really big purses, and I believe the purses are going up this year. So, yeah, I'm gonna be interested to see what that meet looks like. Because I mean, we had more West Coast and more Midwest horses kind of come in. I mean, we always have those horses, there at Oaklawn, but I feel like there was a bigger presence because of their respective tracks being closed. So yeah, I'm really interested to see what's going to happen. I honestly think that they're going to continue to be supported, and it's going to be a heck of a meet again. But
you're gonna have people who are kind of bucking the new California rules that are gonna keep strings. It's not going to be the same sort of presence as last year, whenever they just weren't running and everyone just kind of moved their stables east to Oaklawn. I think you're going to see people like Wes Ward probably, based on who I was seeing in like the trapeze and the springboard mile last week. I think Wes Ward's probably going to keep a small string. I mean, it's in my opinion, it's the best track running at that time of year, and has the best prep. So I'd be shocked to not see more and more people kind of keeping more horses there, especially from the West Coast. Especially with how like you said, the purse increases again. They're the best races and the richest races running at that time. So yeah, I wouldn't be shocked if the competition level stays high. I don't think it stays quite as high as it was last year, though.
Yeah, I was like credit where it's due. I think the ownership of Oaklawn has done a stellar job of over the past probably 10 years, really developing that meet, raising the level of racing, and done a lot for the state bred program in Arkansas. You've seen actually Arkansas breds now are actually just some legit horses. So it's interesting to see. You got the Derby Trail. You're saying, oh, hey, here's an Arkansas bred that's a Derby potential horse. Like they've done a good job of giving back to the program, developing it out. And that's what a good program should do. It's nice to see. I really wish they used a different back end than CDI, but beyond that, it's some good stuff.
yeah, well, why don't we move into to the awards portion here? I think this is gonna take a little bit. I'll explain the format that we're going to go through first, and so that way you guys kind of know what we're going to do here. But first, we do have to acknowledge our sponsor. Shout out to Keep Pounding for buying 2 t-shirts while drunk the other night.
What shirts did he get?
This was before the wolf shirt was out.
Damn it!
So this was before the wolf shirt was out. But I remember we were talking... I think he was talking big about his huge bets on Biden and just like the sheer amount of money he was going to cash off of these just big balls bets on Joe Biden winning the election. And he decided to take a little bit of that and support the stream by a couple t-shirts. So shout out to Keep Pounding. Shout out to Chase's mom for buying a t-shirt. And was it your old boss too who bought one too? Or who was it?
I had 2 folks I used to work with, both bought t-shirts.
Yeah, so we'll be trying to get the merch situation a little bit more stabilized, get some more stuff out there. We appreciate everybody who bought anything. I don't know if Polka Dot Taylor's out there. He won our contest. I sent him, and so we sent him out a t-shirt and a notebook. So we'll try and do a little bit more stuff. We do have a little bit of money kind of coming in from our AM Wager affiliate. You'll see a link in our
AM Wager.
You'll see a link in our YouTube video. So we're not obviously trying to get rich off this or anything.
AM wagering.
So we'll be putting away some more like contests and giveaways and stuff like that. Maybe try and do some horse tourney stuff. I'll have to talk with Shu and see if there's anything we can do with them. But yeah, let's we're gonna talk about the format here. I was inspired. I'm a big fan of the website. It's called Giant Bomb. They do a lot of video game coverage because I'm a huge nerd. So they have a Game of the Year section. Every year they do these like long ass podcasts, and essentially what they do is they get a list of nominees for all their awards, and they sit there and live, or not live, they do this in podcast form, but they sit there and they talk through and they do their deliberations live and come out with a winner. So really the only prep that we have done is we got our list together, we got our people here on the our nominations. We're gonna go through our awards. We got best trainer, best jockey, fuck that horse, coolest horse, best racer moment, male horse of the year, female horse of the year, and then just plain old horse of the year. So we're going to kind of go through these. We're going to do discussions, deliberations. Shout out to Matt Carlson. Shout out to Beastcast. He knows what I'm talking about. And I'm going to be watching chat. We'll see what you guys have to say. You know, if you guys got any comments, go ahead. Toss it in chat. We'll talk about it. And so the goal is, by the end of this, is we're going to have winners in every one of these categories. Do you guys also want to do runner-ups, or do we want to just do winners?
Let's just do winners. I mean,
all right, we'll just do winners.
Who cares about place betting?
All right, yeah, no, place betting is bad. Suckers bet. It's a sucker bet. So I'm gonna have the spreadsheet up here. So let me go switch on over to our view here. Chat, if you guys can't, if this is not blown up enough, let me know. Caleb did let me know what his picks were, so we will weigh that in. So that way, his voice is not left unheard. I think he actually got this first one right, but we're going to do Trainer of the Year. We didn't have a lot of nominations for this one.
Hey, what happened to my second entry? It disappeared.
Who was your second entry?
I had Todd Fletcher on there.
Todd Fletcher. And guys, this is open. If you guys we're going through this and you guys think of something that you guys forgot, let me know. I'll toss it on the list. Doesn't matter. So here we go. We got Trainer of the Year. All right, we got Chad Chip Brown. We got Tom Morley. I don't know how Tom Morley got on this list, but
I have no idea how Tom Morley. Actually,
I wonder how that could have happened. I have no idea.
I have an inkling of an idea of how Tom Morley got on that list.
So what's really funny is I was laughing because I saw Tom Morley on here, and I always get him and Bill Morey mixed up. Morey. He's a Kentucky trainer. So I was like, oh, I should nominate William Morey just because, I want to go ahead and just put that in there. But yeah, Tom Morley got on here somehow. We got Brad Cox, we got Jack Sisterson, and then we got our late addition here, Todd Fletcher. I'm gonna go ahead and say that Tom Morley, as good of a I don't want to say, well, I mean, he's had a good year, but as much money as he's made you, Mark, unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to take Tom Morley off the list. I think he's going to be the first deletion. I don't think anyone's going to argue with that.
I wouldn't argue with that. My only logic of putting him on there is he's a trainer who does a lot with a very little. He does not have a big barn, does not have a lot of stock. He does not get those $1 million auction purchases. A lot of claiming game, a lot of Naira races. He puts horses in good spots. He's able to claim out of good barns. Never gets a positive violation for any sort of drugs or anything else. So I'm completely okay with take him off there. It was more of an honorable mention kind of thing, but he's one of the good guys in the sport. And I think in a situation where there's a very obvious omission from Trainer of the Year here that somebody's already brought up in chat. And I think when you talk about dirty trainers who are obviously dirty, we should also be doing the opposite and patting the guys in the back who are clean, always are clean, never get busted. And that was my Tom Morley plug.
Okay.
That was the equivalent of you writing in Gandhi on your presidential ballot.
So I did add Bob Baffert here for Trainer of the Year. He's going to be the second deletion, so I typed him in and deleted his name right away. Unfortunately, some years I think I would be okay with using him. He just didn't have the stable this year. He had two horses that kind of that ran well. and he had a couple other horses that put in some good performances. But I mean, all the drug stuff that came up this year, I just don't think he had that great of a year. I mean, like Authentic, yes, Authentic, did it, was great. But if we're looking at the entire body of work, like, yes, we know Bob Baffert doesn't have a very big barn, but he usually has 3, 4, maybe 5 horses that win, G1s, G2s. And
he did. They all got sesamoid injuries, suspension
they all have
they either got injured or they all pop drug positives. That's what happened.
And you know what? Honestly, and maybe in a different year, we have Nadal winning the Derby, or oh my, I can't even. It's been so long, I can't even remember. Charlatan, who's coming back, I think, at Santa Anita.
Yeah, he's supposed to come back opening weekend.
Yeah, so I'm taking them off. Part of it is because I already have my mind made up on this one, and part of it is I just don't feel great. Pushing for with all the steps that horse racing seems like it's trying to make, with reducing the use of Lasix and moving forward with less drug use. I don't feel great doing it this year. We'll see how the story goes forward. We got a couple others. Linda Rice, Noda moves up horses better than anybody else. We're gonna leave it at that. Arnaud Delacour, I don't even know who was his big horse this year. Yeah, who's his big horse
this year? He very good trainer. I don't know who his big one of this year was, not off the top of my head.
Yeah.
All right, so I think this is a open and closed case, and the answer to this question is the hot Cox. Brad Cox, I think I honestly feel like he kind of sewed that up Breeders' Cup weekend with just his entire barn just having an insane kind of weekend, and running off the screen. Is there something going on there in the background? Probably, maybe. Yeah, I'm not sure when the last time he got popped was, but I don't think he's been popped recently, and his barn is kind of all run like superstars. So I got to say that your trainer of the year, hands down, is Brad Cox.
So I kind of want to just talk through this list real quick. So like Chad Brown, I thought had a decent year, but he didn't have a Chad Brown year. He had a good year, but I don't think he had a Chad Brown year, right? He didn't.
Yeah, this was not a normal Chad Brown year. I mean, he has the most blue blood. He always has, and always will. But he didn't. He normally wins every turf race not tied down, and he did not do that this year.
Even the win percentage at Saratoga, at Belmont, it was not there. It was not Chip Braun-esque.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good year. And pretty much every single trainer.
Good year for every other trainer.
I mean, I think even Brad Cox wouldn't have been mad to have his year. Just Brad Cox happened to win, all this other stuff.
Chad Brown probably wins earnings title. I would be almost surprised if he doesn't take most earnings on the year. But he did not have a normal Chad Brown type year. So yeah, I'm fine with getting rid of him.
One I really like on here, Jack Sisterson. Jack Sisterson had a sneaky good year. He had some horses that showed up and
late
ran
summer,
awesome. Just
late
really
summer
well.
Going into the early fall. He and he was picking his spots well, and he had some horses that really ran well. Had a sneaky good year.
Yeah, he was another one of mine, and I think what got him there for me was that Vexatious win in the personal instant at Saratoga. I think that was an amazingly impressive win, considering that that horse stepped up massively. Sisterson's actually a number of barns have sort of closed down, or people have been moving them out of some of the bigger named trainers' barns, and they've been moving them to Sisterson's barn. So he's getting a lot of horses, getting a lot of good stock, and doing well with it.
Yeah, I forgot. I my memory is just like foggy on this, but I know there were 2 fairly big name horses who he took out of other barns and moved them up. Was Everfast? Was he Everfast or
Everfast? I think is the one he was. Yeah, sounds right.
He I think he ended up running a real huge second. There was another speedball horse. I think he got in. He ran at Oaklawn.
Lexingtonian.
Yeah,
is another one
Lexingtonian,
of his
and
horses.
Lexingtonian came back and won a pretty decent race.
And we're talking about Sisterson. Sisterson is High Creek Hustle is also one of his as well.
Yeah.
But Sisterson's is a trainer who's only got 40 or 50 horses. He's not a big stable. So he's another person that small stable, high win percentage, seems to, doesn't get popped for drug violations. And he's somebody who seems to really take care of his horses. They keep running and run consistently, and none of the big layoff lines and stuff you see with a lot of other trainers that are more suspect. So I think, credit where it's due.
All right, Mark, talk to me about Todd Fletcher.
Yeah, I think Todd Fletcher, a trainer who the past 4 or 5 years, Todd Fletcher has not been the Todd Fletcher of old. He's been very, very, very slow, especially at Saratoga. It used to be Todd Fletcher used to hit at Chad Brown numbers. He was a 30-something, 35% trainer at Saratoga, and every fast 2-year-old was in Todd Fletcher's barn. That hasn't been the case for a few years, and then very recently, this past year, we saw Todd Fletcher all of a sudden was loaded. The first couple of weeks of the meet, he was just doing, phenomenal, ton of winners, ton of really good horses. Obviously he has a very deep barn. He gets that real blue blood talent. Rapol can spend whatever money he wants to and stick it in Chad Brown's barn, Todd Fletcher's barn. But, I think he's a trainer that was people had sort of written off, and all of a sudden he was back with a vengeance this year.
Did Todd has Happy Saver, right?
Super Saver was Todd's.
No, I'm thinking
Happy Saver, yeah. The one that won that Travers, right? Or what was the race he won?
It wasn't Travers. It was the Peter. Was it Peter Pan?
No.
The Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Gold Cup.
Was that
yeah.
it?
Gold
yeah.
Cup. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So.
AKA the single in my pick 6.
Yep. Yeah, I think we pretty much all agreed, and Caleb also agreed. I thought Brad Cox's year. I mean, he was clearly the trainer
Cox.
of the year.
I think it goes to Cox. I think it's hard to pick somebody else that had a better year, especially given barn size and everything else.
Smoking hot Cox.
All right. So our trainer of the year, Brad Cox, four people. Everyone agrees, unanimous. That was easy. Let's move on here to jockey of the year. Once again, we got a small list here. I feel like we're going to. Yep, and I see people. Yep, Jody's letting me know it is the Gold Cup. Yeah, this is a short list. I don't know how Charlie Marquez got on here again, but somehow somebody put Charlie Marquez on there.
2021 Jockey of the Year, Charlie Marquez.
I will say with Charlie Marquez, because obviously it's pretty obvious that I threw that one on there as well. He's somebody who moved his tack from the Mid-Atlantic, which is a softer jock colony. He moved it to Naira, and he's winning at 13 or 15% in Naira, which is arguably the toughest jock colony in the country. A kid can really ride. I think he's actually a legitimate jock. And when you figure, if you're new to a colony that's as deep as the Naira, you're not getting the best mount. So he's doing a lot with a little. Impressive. I think he's, a jockey of the future. And I think some of these awards call into that, trainer of the year. Is a trainer of the year the winner, the trainer with the most wins, the most money, the most G1s, or that up and coming guy who's a good person? I think, similar with jockey. Is it the jockey that had the most G1 wins? Is it the jockey that had the most earnings? Is it the jockey that has, the most upside? There's a lot of ways you can look at these sort of things. And,
I think it really, the criteria is the jockey who has fucked me less and cost me the least amount of money. That's really what I think we should be looking at when it comes to Jockey of the Year.
Actually, I'm kind of curious now. Let me I'm gonna switch on over to this so I can Google this real quick. I wonder what are the jockey earnings this year? Who is the top? Where can I even find it?
Gotta be Rosario, right?
I would think it's Rad's number 1, Joel's number 2. Rad's 20.8 million. Joel is 18.1 million.
Yeah, but
so we didn't add him on here.
Things to say. Mean things to say about our Rad.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I had a really hard time with this. I know I put this on here, and I think I put Irad on here, and then I just like stopped because I didn't know like really who else to add. Umberto, I thought, had a real phenomenal Del Mar meet on the turf. The dude I think was winning at like 40% or something nuts at Del Mar, and
But he really kind of fell off though after that Del Mar summer meet.
Well,
Like
he became a normal jockey. He was only winning at like 15%.
if he had kept up what he was doing at Del Mar all the way through like Santa Anita back into Del Mar again, I would strongly consider him for Jockey of the Year, especially with that that win rate. Like he was just putting the big swinging dick on the scene, Flavian Pratt to shame all summer. So I mean he's worth consideration, but at the end I don't think
I will say I think 2021 might be a little bit different. I don't know what the hell happened, and I know this is something that Caleb and I yelled about. Mark, I know we were upset about this. Umberto decided, hey, I'm going to try Keeneland, or hey, I'm going to try Kentucky Downs, and both meets, his agent was only able to get him 2-3 mounts, and it's just like, dude, like this is literally like this guy has been riding in the West Coast and winning at 40%. Like it's just like it's not as big of a jump as like Charlie Marquez going from Mid-Atlantic to Naira, right? Because Del Mar and Santa Anita still have some like pretty decent jock colonies. Like you're going from the second or third biggest like jock colony to the first versus or one of the premier boutique meets. Versus like Charlie Marquez going from like a C or D tier track to Naira, but he wasn't able to get mounts. You see Charlie Marquez and all these mounts. You can't get Umberto. Umberto can't ride half the races every day. Like I don't know. We'll see what happens if he can get a full book at places like Kentucky Downs, like Keeneland, riding that turf course. And we'll see if he turns it around at Santa Anita this year. He had a rough go of it at that Santa Anita fall meet, but I definitely think he's one to watch out for. And Keep Pounding says that Ravioli was exposed for sure. I'm gonna
one thing I also think that exposed Ravioli, and you can go ahead and delete him, was that as soon as the whip rule change took place in California, he fell off a cliff. I don't know if the two are related, because that was right about the time of that move from Del Mar to Santa Anita, but it was very detrimental. So I don't know if he's still trying to figure out how to ride with his hands and his feet, or what's up. But yeah, I think
it also made California racing completely unwatchable.
It's terrible. Yeah, it's absolutely abysmal right
now.
Yeah.
Now here's the funny thing, and this is the next guy I'm deleting off this list, I believe. Well, let's talk real quick. So Jose Ortiz, like after the injury, he just fell off a cliff. Like
also his wife's pregnant. He can't ride with crap when his wife's pregnant.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna delete him off. I think Jose Ortiz is probably the second or third best jock in the country under normal circumstances. He had a bad year. He had an off year. We're just going to go ahead. We're going to toss him out there. Another jock I thought who had a good year, John Velasquez. Johnny V, once again, sneaky good year. Sneaky good year. I
not a lot of mounts either.
No, and I've always said that I think that he's one of the more like consistent jocks out there. Like I don't think he might not really move horses up anymore like a Rosario or an Ortiz can, but you know what you're getting when Johnny V is getting aboard, and he's not going to stiff you. So so I you were going to say?
I was going to say that there's another jock that we did not have on the list who's number 3 in earnings this year, and that's Saez. He's not on the list, and obviously, if you're number 3 on earnings, you had a pretty damn good year. And I think to me, he didn't have that race I watched where it was you went, oh man, he just won that for that trainer, those connections, whatever. That was a brilliant ride. He had those in 2019. I didn't see any of them this year. He probably did, and I probably just missed them. But to me, it was big career, big earnings year for him, but didn't feel quite as good as he had in the past. So that's why I didn't throw him on here.
He was the number 1 jockey on the lead in 2020. I think I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Luis Saez on a turf route with a speed horse is just absolutely deadly, just absolutely deadly. And yeah, and it looks like keep pounding is keeping us on this. Yes, we probably should add both of them. I was I had a hard time looking past Rad Ortiz this year, just because I just don't think that still there's anybody who moves up horses as well as Rad does. On the other hand, though, if you've been watching Gulfstream at all, I am starting to question how much he likes riding at Gulfstream. But yeah,
I'm anti Irad because I feel like about 15% of his wins probably should have been DQs anyway, just for the fucking dirty way he rides. I'm 100% anti Irad. That's I can think of so many races at Saratoga where you see a horse win and you're like, well, Irad won. He did something fucked up to get there. And I no. I say no.
I agree with Chase here, and for very much the same reasons. I think Joel Rosario is one of the best jocks in the country at moving horses up. There are so many horses that Joel gets on the first time, and they just run better. He's going to occasionally do a stupid Joel thing on a 2-5 shot where he tries to get cute and be, and hand ride and do whatever else, and he gets burnt. But I mean, how there's that, the running $ Rosario on Discord for a reason. The guy will show up on some 20-1 shot that has no business winning a race, and he'll steal it. And I can't think of any other jock that does that, and that's talent. And so I think you really have to give to somebody like that who can massively move a horse up, as opposed to either of the Ortiz brothers who probably win 25% of their races by herding.
So here's the interesting thing. Here's the interesting thing I want to mention. Go ahead.
I just got to point out that John Massey brought up a name that we 100% missed, and that is the tax mensch, David Cohen, who needs to be mentioned in the same breath as these jockeys.
David Cohen is one of like 2 people who have me blocked on Twitter, so I cannot vote for him.
For many a reason, I cannot vote for him. Mainly the fact that I've only seen him ever win one turf race.
All right, we didn't.
Huge odds, and it was a beautiful ride. It takes is one.
The one big jock that we didn't mention, I think, besides Saez, and I actually put Saez back on the list because I think maybe we need to talk about this a little more. Tyler Gaffion, I think he's 4th or 5th in earnings. He just doesn't move the needle for me. Like, he's fine. I think he rides real well in Kentucky for Maker.
TGAF rides in a lot of very soft jockey colonies, and he gets a lot of very choice mounts in those jockey colonies. Reminds me of a Mike Smith back in the day, where he rode in a soft jockey colony and got all these wins because he was just gifted great rides or great mounts.
But with boy band salon quality hair.
My thing with Gaff is I can't think of where he's been in a competitive jockey colony and you noticed him. He just, when he gets into a competitive jockey colony, he just goes poof and disappears.
Here's the thing. Here's what I'm going to say about Gaff.
He had a great Keeneland fall, especially on the turf, where there's some very good turf jockeys. I'm not a huge T-Gaff fan.
There's what, 3 jocks? You could literally box the 3 jocks at Keeneland and it almost hit every race. I mean, the 3 jockeys won everything at Keeneland fall.
I mean, but look at what like Ricardo Santana Jr. did, at Keeneland this year. I mean, it wasn't. Well, I'm not sure if that makes any sense.
Yeah, but here's the thing, right? Ricardo Santana Jr. did all his damage riding for Mike Maker. Tyler Gaffion does most of his damage riding for Mike Maker. So I don't know. I don't know if it's so much.
We're talking about the fact that you're using an example of Santana, who's a freaking dirt. He's not a turf jock beating up on Gaff, who you're trying to now motivate up. Come on. But Gaff doesn't belong in this group.
Here's the thing,
the newly resurrected turf Jesus, Ricardo Santana Jr.
But here's the thing, right? Gaff, the thing about Gaffion,
hallelujah.
The thing about Gaffion and the aforementioned Ricardo Santana Jr., I feel like they're like in like that B, that like second tier, right behind the 3 guys I think who we still have up here. I think there's nothing wrong with Gaff. Like, I would prefer Gaff over a Flo or a Leperoux or a Mike Smith. I mean, you could probably go on like guys that you would rather, like him, guys you would rather use him over. Like, He's great, but I think as far as the top 3 jockeys going right now, I think we have them on here. I re-added Sias to the list.
And I will agree with what Jody said. He is right. Gaff is riding well at Gulfstream, but you can compare him to a couple. I mean, probably not a Rad. Rad's not riding well right now, but compare him to Sias, and Sias will just take his lunch. So, but yeah, I mean, for me, this is Joel Rosario all day, and I have a hard time going any other way.
Gotta go Rosario. He got some great mounts, and he did what he was supposed to with those mounts. And if you just look at what he did when he would like sweep into Oaklawn for a weekend and just absolutely put that entire colony to shame, it's just talent translated, and he was much the best.
It's also very impressive for me when you're a jock who Joel Rosario is notorious at Saratoga for riding for little oddball trainers and picking up mounts. He's not somebody that gets handed all those nice mounts from a Fletcher or a Chad Brown or somebody like that. Joel is also very good at being able to go to all of these meets and show up and take everybody's cake on their own home turf. He'll, show up at Oaklawn and steal races. He'll show up at Santa Anita and steal races. Show up at Del Mar and steal races. Show up at Kentucky Downs and steal races. So to me, it's very impressive when a jock doesn't need to be on his home turf to win.
I just want to tell you guys, and I want to tell everybody who's watching, Joel Rosario is going to absolutely murder Santa Anita. If you want to see anybody, like, here's the thing, right? You essentially took the one thing that Joel Rosario probably isn't very good at, which is when and when not to use the whip, and you just took that out of his hands. You took it out of everybody's hands. And if there's anybody who uses his hands better than anybody else, it's Joel Rosario. Joel Rosario will get more out of a horse just hand riding him than anybody else. He is going to absolutely murder Santa Anita with these whip rules. Absolutely murder him. Like, if he wins 35% of his mounts, and I'm not even joking, I would not be surprised. He is just going to be absolutely nuts with Santa Anita.
I completely agree with you. And Stuart is jockey overall, not jockey at a specific, track.
Landeros did win that one race at Gulfstream Park, though, and the championship.
He won, and he lost 96 others.
But I believe he compared it to the Did he compare it to the flu game?
Yes, he did. That was his comparison. Yeah,
that was his flu game, wasn't it?
Yeah, flu game or something, or I don't know. Yeah, it did. Yeah, let's okay. So I think all three of us are in agreement with Rosario. I think we have one person who doesn't agree, and he is not here. Next topic.
In fairness, Caleb had him as a second choice, so we didn't box him out completely. This is the second choice. We're gonna go with Rosario. Congratulations, Joel Rosario. You're on the wrong lead jockey of the year. Moving on, this one is gonna take a while. And Chase disappeared. This is the I literally created this for Caleb, and I'm really sad that he's like just not feeling good. But this is the Fuck That Horse award, sponsored by Zulu Alpha. And we got what do we got? We got 16 entries. We got some AEs in here. We still got jocks coming in. Juan Hernandez, who's up and coming. I actually really like Juan. We'll see how he does at Santa Anita. But we got the Fuck That Horse by Zulu Alpha here. Caleb, I think, nominated the entire older turf male division.
Yes, he did.
And then he felt a little guilty about nominating some of them, so I added a few towards the end. Because Aquaphobia needs to be on there. Because fuck that horse, god damn.
So, all right, I'm gonna go fast and furious here. Voodoo Song, I don't know who put this on here. Like, whatever. Voodoo Song is actually kind of a cool horse, and just at the end of its career, okay, whatever. I mean, Digital Age wasn't that bad this year, right? How much did a lot of us lose money on Digital Age? I don't feel like we lost money on Digital Age.
I made money on Digital Age.
Digital Age showed up for one race, and that was all that mattered. And I think Jason and I both had him there.
Yeah, that's fine. If we did this in May, Mr. Freeze would probably be number 1 on my fucking list because he fucking won those like 2 or 3 big races at the beginning of the year, or came in second, and I was like, fuck this guy. This horse is fucking up all my bets. And then I still faded him, and he just never showed up. So no, and
somebody said it in chat. Delete Jakarta. I mean, Jakarta isn't. You guys kept trying to get him his lone speed. He got rated once, and then the other time he's just wasn't lone speed. He's not that good. He's just not that good. But I mean, that was that. I mean, there's certain like. Again, this is one of those categories. There's certain fuck that horse because you look at it and you go, oh, that horse, on paper should be competitive here at a price. And there's also ones that just horses that disappoint all the time. And I think Jakarta ran well above his. You were betting him at 30 and 40 to 1. Yeah, okay, he didn't show. He wasn't quite good enough, and he didn't get the perfect setup that you hoped for. But that's not really the horse's fault. He was in over his head, and we all knew it.
I'm sorry. I got to respond to this.
Still be like, fuck that horse, though.
I mean, I still am. Fuck that horse. It was actually Caleb's third choice.
Yeah, I was going to say on this list for me, it's probably the same horse I would have had last year, and that's Tacitus. I don't see how Tacitus isn't your number 1 fuck that horse. He's a horse that consistently gets overbet. People consistently make excuses for him. Everybody talks about, oh, well, the next time's the time with him. He's not that good.
No.
He takes a ton of money, and he burns money. Yeah, okay, in the Gold Club, I got exposed that he just really isn't that good. But we've been saying it for 2 years, but people kept betting him. He keeps getting... I mean, yeah, he's a takeout reducer. We know that.
Exactly. And that's why we fucking love that horse. I love that horse. Takeout reducer. I love that horse. Favorite horse of the year, Tacitus. Because idiots keep on betting him.
To me, the category of fuck that horse is like the horse that for all accounts and purposes shouldn't show up, and it just does show up. Or a money burner. So, I mean, when I say shouldn't show up and does, I think we all know who my number 1 fuck that horse is for the year, which isn't going to surprise anybody because it's the one person that I hate more than anyone else.
So, I'm going to go quick here, right? Zulu Alpha, deleting it because he can't win his own award. Firenze Fire, guess what? It's not the horse's fault. Deleting him. Arklow, whatever. If you still bet Arklow, guess what? It's not fuck that horse. You're an idiot. Deleting that one out. Bodie Express. Who put Bodie Express on this list? They had to have been Caleb.
It had to be Caleb because I don't. He doesn't belong. No.
I was on Bodie Express. I fucking love that horse too. Get the fuck out of here. Tacitus, you bet that horse. You're a moron. Your own fault. Cross-border.
But there's a difference, though, because Tacitus was always 5-2. Every time he went off, he was 5-2, 2-1. A lot of people lost a lot of money on Tacitus when he was supposed to show up and win and supposed to do the thing, and he invented ways of losing. And he, every time, invents new ways of losing, whether it be he's going to be more scared of the gate or he's going to invent a new way of tripping and falling and doing something stupid. Like, yeah.
Yeah, however, did we lose money on that horse?
No, because I wouldn't bet him because I'm not stupid.
All right, so deleting him. Cross-border, this fucking horse, like, ran his eyeballs out in that one race in Saratoga, and was that the one that Sadler's Joy got DQ'd, and they was Cross-border moved up to winner? Was that race?
Yes, I think it was, and that would have been the Sword Dancer.
Yeah, but after that, he decided not to show up. I'm actually surprised. You know who I'm surprised you didn't put on there? Who was the rabbit for that race? There was a rabbit in that race, and Chase, you thought that the rabbit was live because you didn't think it was a rabbit.
I did. God damn it! Who was that horse? Fuck that horse.
Yeah, fuck that horse.
It was a Chad. It was a Chad horse. I
remember. No, it was a Maker horse. It was another Maker horse.
Oh, it was oh, okay.
Yeah, it was Maker put 2 in that race, and one was Cross-border, and one was another horse. I forgot the name of it, and
the rabbit one.
and Keep Pounding says Chase always thinks the rabbit's alive, though.
So does Josh. They all, cheap speed, man. You both love your cheap speed.
You don't know cheap. You know the speed is cheap until it fades down the stretch.
You know how I know this? You know how I know the speed is cheap because both the two of you like it.
I think Caleb said that the only person he knows that bets speed more than him is me. So, um, we'll take cross. Aquaphobia.
I can never get on the right side of that horse. Goddamn horse moves to the maker barn and suddenly figures out, gets the most perfect dreams setup in the history of dream setups, wins one race, and then just decided to not show up ever again.
Yeah. I'm going to clear some rows here. So we're back down.
I did not use Aquaphobia because I hate Aquaphobia in that one freaking race. So Aquaphobia cost me money. So we can leave that one there for a bit. Trash Can, the turf horse, who I have bet him 3 times now, and he has not won any of the times I've bet him.
You've been a big fan of him since like March, I believe. We have the recordings.
Yeah, I think we do have the recordings to prove it. I at that time thought he would be a good mutter. His pedigree says he should be, and he didn't really love it. And then I kept waiting for him to put him on turf, and they finally did, and he got nosed out. I can't remember who beat him. And but the one time I was going to get a price on him, that everyone went, "Oh, he's actually a turf horse," and then he hasn't shown up in those 2 races since.
So next one, My Sister Nat. I put My Sister Nat on here, but really what I meant to say is Chad Brown's B horses. Like his B string, like in a grade 3, grade 2 race where he only enters his B string, I can never fucking know which one of them is actually going to win the damn race. My Sister Nat, Nay Lady Nay, who is Digital Age in some way, shape, or form, but I think Digital Age is getting moved up. There's just like all these horses that he like hides in Monmouth, and then it's like, hey, there's a grade 3 in New York, let's run this bitch. And all of a sudden, like you're like, do I bet this horse or do I not bet this horse? So yeah, my sister Nat, I got on the wrong end of her, and was not happy.
Let's just cut through the bullshit. We all know who the fuck that horse of the year is.
We do.
Yeah. And let's just go ahead.
Yeah, because I have a feeling it's split. I have a feeling that it's 2-2.
Chase and I are going to agree.
You guys going to say Authentic?
Authentic. Fuck that horse.
Yeah, because I'm going to say Channel Maker. And Caleb is also going to say Channel Maker. Rock Emperor. That's the other fucking horse I hate. God damn it, Rock Emperor. Talk about burning money. That horse went like 5-2, 6-5 favorite in like 2 of his like last races and just didn't run a damn step. So the tiebreaker here, I think, might be a point that and you agree with him, Chase. You agree with Keep Pounding. That the thing about Authentic is he came out of nowhere and ruined, or didn't really ruin, but came out of nowhere and won those 2 races that you just didn't think. Oh, Art Collector, that's a good one too, John Massey. But won those 2 races where I didn't think, like the Derby, that's on me, right? The Derby, I think we should have seen that coming, right? But to win that Breeders' Cup Classic,
no.
That horse on paper is not fast enough to win the Classic. He had never run anything even close to being fast enough.
Wasn't
out of nowhere. No, he wasn't fast enough to win the Derby either. I don't understand why, but he's multiple times not been fast enough. Just jumps up, wins things. Albeit the track played into him on Breeders' Cup Day, but still, he's not that.
You know what? He was the one horse. You had 2 horses in the Derby. You had 1,000 Words and you had Authentic. Authentic was the one who could handle its drugs. He was the one who knew how to fucking handle his shit while he was just yacked to the gills. That's why Authentic won. We all know it. You know what? We saw the Roid Rage in the circle. Fuck that horse.
So Chase, somebody just did say it in chat. Do we have to flip off from Authentic because he did try to kill Bob Baffert?
I mean, you can still do something commendable and have me be like, fuck you and fuck that horse. Fuck that horse.
I mean, I feel pretty good about Channel Maker here. Sadler's Joy was actually my second choice because you guys have heard me just fucking chase Sadler's Joy the past year. And now I'm like, look at guys, he's finally going 3 turns. This is his fucking time. And I bet him, and he still fucking lost. And then, sure enough, who the fuck comes out of nowhere?
Well, whose fault is that, Josh? Whose fault is that?
Yeah, but still, fuck that horse.
Just because you go to a well more and more and more times doesn't inherently make it any more likely to happen. I mean, you give me crap about going back to a well I should have known better about going to. You just said it yourself.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Crypto. I have a hard time. Giving the award solely to the Kentucky Derby winner and BC Classic winner. I feel like we are split exactly 2-2 on this.
Authentic is bad for horse racing. Channel Maker is not. Authentic winning that race proves that the bad guys win. Both those races.
Fuck that horse. Fuck that horse.
1,000 words. That's another money burner right there. Are you guys gonna let this go? Are we gonna do Co or are we gonna do?
I'm okay with Co.
I'm not. Fuck that horse.
All right. Well, Caleb's not here, so all right. Well, we're gonna give it to Authentic. Fuck that horse. I will say that I was covered pretty good in a double. I think to Authentic like twice or double the races Authentic was in, and I didn't have him covered either time. So fuck that horse for winning and costing me money when I had pretty much every other logical besides him.
Because he's not never logical. Because fuck that horse.
All right, let's get a little more positive here. All right, we got the Disco Partner Coolest Horse Award. There was a little bit of discussion. I know there was a discussion on Twitter a couple weeks ago about what a cool horse is. But I just think I just think it's an older horse or a horse that's got a cool story, or just I don't know. It's just something about the horse.
One that wears its hats backwards and is really into hip hop.
Yeah, I actually think the first one I'm gonna eliminate is Midnight Bisou, because I don't really think Midnight Bisou counts in this case.
It's more of a super horse sort of.
Yeah, Midnight Bisou is a legit, like really just like almost super horse at this point. We got the chat. The chat is going crazy. And I think the chat's gonna be right here. Did someone else delete somebody?
No, you did it, Josh. That was your.
Oh, my bad. Starship Jubilee, I thought had a really great campaign. I think the 3 of these horses that are here are the definition of cool horses. Horses that just like try every time they come out, are still running at an older age, and just Hey
Josh, scroll up. Your list is just the very bottom on YouTube.
No, that's the only list. It's just 3 of them.
Yeah, that's it.
There's only 3 horses.
Okay. I can only see one name.
That's not what I'm seeing.
I can see them all fine.
But, so, Starship
fuck
Jubilee...
That person. You get fuck that person, and you get fuck that person.
Starship Jubilee, I think, is the definition of cool horse. Had a great campaign. There's really not much to say. Like it's just not fair. It's really not fair that like in any other year we probably like any of these horses can win, but I think this year there's one clear winner. There's one clear winner in both personal. I know this horse means a ton to you, Chase. I know you love this horse, Mark. Caleb also had it as number 1. John Massey did bring one cool horse that I do kind of want to mention, is Welder. You guys know Welder? Welder's a fucking cool horse. It's Oklahoma bred that is just like, I don't know, had this like huge, just like long winning streak. Was winning stakes race after stakes race. Finally, I think he's kind of tailed off a little bit. He's kind of like a bargain bin Whitmore, if you will. So just take a look at Welder's past performances. He's real interesting. He runs in all like the big Oklahoma bred races. Pink Lloyd, another great example, and I think Pink Lloyd's another one that I think is starting to tail off a little bit. I think he lost 1 or 2 races this year. He's a Woodbine specialist. Runs in a bunch of stakes races up there. So we're gonna delete Starship Jubilee. Tom's d'Etat. Mark, talk to me about Tom's d'Etat. I know this horse means a lot to you.
Yeah, both of these two do actually mean a lot to me. Tom's d'Etat has just been, he's just that horse that is the quintessential trier. He never runs a bad race. He always tries, always puts forth his best effort, and is just a really cool horse. He got unlucky. I think he beats Improbable if he doesn't trip and stumble out of the gate and is a little more forwardly placed in the Woodward, and yeah, and honestly, he tossed the first clunker I think he's ever tossed in his career was the Breeders' Cup Classic, and at 7 or whatever he is, he's allowed to toss a clunker occasionally, which in a race that was too far for him. He really mile and an eighth. That's his world. Brings it every time. Runs his heart out. Honest as a day is long. Stays healthy. And just he's a horse of the people. And you need more of these horses that run a lot. I mean, I shouldn't say he doesn't run a lot, but they run for long periods of time. People get to know those names, and they become, a little more household. That's good for the sport, and I think Tom's d'Etat is that.
Matt Carlson says, can he nominate that Charlestown horse that kept taking right turns into the barn?
I can't remember that horse's name, but he should be out here because he's a cool horse. He gets it.
Like, fuck this. I'm in the lead. Lone Speed. I won this race. I'm heading out. All right, Chase, the winner of this award. I mean, we knew this going in. This is a unanimous winner. But talk to me about Whitmore.
Whitmore is just an amazing horse, an awesome horse who has been doing it at a high level for oh so long, and he finally cashed in and got that big signature win after setting a record for Count Fleet wins this year at Oaklawn. You touch him behind the withers and he fucking fires. He's he tries every time. And if you want to know how much this horse means to people, especially to the connections, just find the video of Chance Mockwit watching Whitmore win the BC Sprint, like just going crazy. Just there's nothing I love more than watching the big fella tip out wide and fucking rumble like that. He is my number one favorite all-time horse. And just cool as fuck. I'm so excited that he's probably going to be back again this year as like an 8-year-old, 9-year-old to keep running, and he's going to keep running at this high of a level. So yeah, I don't think that there's any way that you can give this to someone other than Whitmore.
Yeah, and I think the other thing that's really impressive about Whitmore is, he had a couple races where he was very pace compromised during the year. The race at Saratoga would be the one that I would think of. I think that's is it the Vanderbilt that he was at? Was it Saratoga? Or no, sorry, the Forgo. Where he went a little farther than he was, and he was really, no, I had it right. Yeah, the Vanderbilt, that volatile one. And then they tried to run him back in the Forgo, which is a little further than he really wants to go. But if you look at that Breeders' Cup Classic, he had no business winning that race. Now it was not the best, Breeders' Cup Sprint in history. You normally have a couple monsters in there, and they really weren't there this year. But if you look at, he had some pace to run into, but he was on the rail, and you got to figure somebody else in that race was going to step up and got him rolling, and he won by open lengths going away in the sprint. I mean, it was visually impressive, and that was not sort of the pace setup or the race dynamic that normally he fires into. So I think even for that, it's even more impressive. And to have a 7-year-old that's still winning and is still running at that level, it's just very, very, very cool.
Yeah, I'm what you guys said. I mean, you guys spoke it much better than I did. So we're gonna just leave it at that. Whitmore is our Disco Partner Coolest Horse Award. Shout out to 6421. Hopefully, we get that Discord Partner horse bred at some point. All right, we're gonna move on. Race or moment of the year. we got a couple good ones here. We got Preakness, we got the Personal Ensign, we got Bob Baffert getting knocked down, got Lake Billy Rogers, the Assiniboia Downs pre-race intro, Bonner Park objections and inquiries, and the BC turf. I'm gonna have to. The first one I'm gonna have to take off the list is the Assiniboia Downs pre-race intro, only because I think that Delta Downs' pre-race intro slaps and is a little bit better than the ASD one.
Okay,
I get that little guitar riff stuck in my head all the time. That I get that little thing at the end, dude. I get that stuck in my head all the time, dude.
Your inner music major just came out.
Yeah, so I'm gonna have to take ASD off of that one. Bonner Park objections and inquiries. How did this get on there? Because nobody liked this.
No, it was it just the number of people blowing up at the fact of that stupid jackpot that they had, and then everybody got robbed like 2 or 3 different times. Why on earth people still play that place, I do not understand. This is not a good race or moment. Get rid of it.
John Massey brought up an excellent point, which is where's my pick six? Where's my pick six on the list?
Which pick six? You hit a pick six?
You hit a pick six? Really?
Yeah, you guys were there.
Do you remember? Do you remember, Chase, when we hit that Preakness pick six, me and you? And paid $40.
Yeah, this one paid substantially more. Substantially more.
KP says he let the record show I was robbed twice. How were you robbed twice? Where were you robbed? Was that at Fonner? You were robbed twice at Fonner? Are you in somebody's, like, did you get into somebody's ear and get these added? It wasn't me, because I think I just added the Preakness. I don't even think I added the Preakness. I think I added number 4, Bob Baffert getting knocked down. The BC Turf, I thought the BC Turf was a good race, but I don't think that it really holds a candle to the other 2 races that we have on here between the.
So wait a second, you have Magical, who is arguably the best turf horse in the world, and you have Tarnawa, who chases her down in the lane. And, that's the passing of the guard right there. I mean, you're talking, there's Tarnawa is probably the best turf horse in the world right now. And you got to see the 2 of them heads up for the first time ever, both of them coming off from out of, major top tier European stuff. I know Tarnawa came out of the Opera, and Magical was coming out of one of the big money races in England. I don't remember which one it was. And pointing to the BC, and you got to see him heads up on the track. And that may be the only time you ever get to see. I think Tarnawa is going to go on and do some amazing things. I think Tarnawa is going to be the next Magical, and it's probably the passing of the guard right there. And I think, to me, that's very cool.
I'm laughing at chat right now because
oh God, that's painful.
Keep Pounding says that. What about that? He hit a 1750 Belmont pick 5, and then Matt goes, "Hey, that was my first pick 5 I've ever hit. I lost $31." That's fucking tough, dude. No, I mean, it was. I'm not saying it was a bad race, and I guess I would put it up with the Personal Ensign. I just thought the Preakness was probably the best race of the year that I saw from a just kind of all around standpoint. You didn't think that? I thought that was a great story. The filly winning it again. First time since oh crap, I'm back. I'm Rachel Alexandra. Yeah, first time since Rachel Alexandra. Ken McPeak. Does it the right way. Barkley Tag, I think, was weeks after going on a racist rant. Like, I thought it was good. It was good.
I think the story was good. I thought the Personal Ensign story was better, where you had Bisou coming back off from, she went for an absolute romp in her previous race, first no company, and comes into Saratoga at 1-5, and Vexatious, steps up and beats her. And
that was a great race.
And it was a great race, a phenomenal stretch duel, an amazing job. I think Lascano was up on Vexatious. Amazing job floating Bisou just a little wide, giving himself a little bit of breathing room top of the stretch so he didn't get gunned down late. And, I think if you talk about the context at that point in time, we were thinking that Bisu might be the best dirt horse in training in the world. She came back off from that freakishly good performance in the Saudi Cup and, had got a little breather, second off. We thought she was Breeders' Cup Classic bound. Like, everybody was talking about it. And obviously there was an unfortunate injury and everything else. And that was the last race she ended up ever running. But, with the context at that time, a horse that you thought was invincible, everybody was single to her, and and she loses, and didn't lose in a fluke. That was a hell of a race.
Hammered the trifecta in that race. Hammered it. I thought she was beatable. I thought there was an angle where you could beat that horse in that race. I do like the Preakness moment because I like to tell my little girls that they can do anything. They can do anything as well as any boy. So seeing a filly win the Preakness, that counts somehow, maybe.
The filly also won the BC Turf, right?
So fillies went 1-2 in the BC Turf, but and the real reason that you like the Preakness is the horse that didn't win.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Just making sure we're all in agreement here. Yeah.
All right, so someone talk to me about Lake Billy Rogers. Who put this on here?
That was me.
I would like to. I think more important than Lake Billy Rogers is Capone calling the Billy Rogers racing office and talking to Skeeter.
Him and Skeeter were like best friends, and we used to get the track surface updates, and then we could actually tell them that we thought the track was this, and they would change the conditions of the track. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Dude, do you guys remember? I don't remember if this was this year or if it was before. When, no, I think it had to be this year when Los Al was running, and there was that really big DQ where who is the Aaron Grider? Aaron Grider was riding a horse for some Kentucky job and got DQ'd, and like. We had people calling the racing office asking for an explanation.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
My God.
Yeah,
I forgot about that. On that DQ.
Dude, that was like in the deep of like there is no racing going on. We're sending our horses to Los Al to run these hook races because we got nowhere else to run them.
Yeah, so the context with Lake Billy Rogers was the fact that every time it rains at Will Rogers Down, the drainage doesn't work the best, and the top of the stretch on the inside, the proverbial lake forms, and you could see the jocks that sort of knew that they had to swing wide and avoid the lake, and if they did go through the lake, it was like quicksand, and you just stopped, and it became a whole Discord, thing about plotting around the lake.
All right, what do you guys think is the next one we cut from here? We got 5 up here. We got the Preakness, Personal Ensign, Bob Baffert getting knocked down, which I don't think is going to disappear at this point. Lake Billy Rogers or the BC Turf, what goes?
Oh, Lake Billy Rogers probably goes.
Yeah, I honestly, the BC Turf, that it was a cool race, but I feel like it doesn't have the same sentimental values as some of these other things in here.
Sorry, I opened a bottle of or I poured myself some Bookers, and now I'm trying to navigate this. There we go.
Oh God, you have to open a box and a bottle on air. So Josh, we don't have that much time, man.
It's all right, dude. I got it.
You said that the last time.
Well, yeah. Well, I decided to go with some of my nicer stuff. So I got the bottle of Bookers, and I got a little Stag Junior that I just had. Then I got this Bookers from last year. So. All right, so we're gonna go ahead. We're gonna take BC Turf, Lake Billy Rogers, gone. So we're left with the Preakness, Personal Ensign, and Bob Baffert getting knocked down.
We all know where my vote goes.
Where does your vote go? Because
Bob Baffert getting knocked down 100%.
There's Bob Baffert getting hurt twice here. So.
Listen, I've been keeping this a secret, but I've actually commissioned a piece of art of Bob Baffert eating
Please tell me it's
shit.
an ass tap. Please tell me it's an ass tap. Please have it be an ass tap.
Here, I'm gonna throw it up in the chat, and if Josh wants to put it up in the stream, he's more than welcome to. It's a beautiful piece of commissioned art.
Hold on. Let me switch over to Discord. You put it in our chat? Let me know when it's up.
It's up.
So I'm gonna have that printed on canvas for all of the On the Wrong Lead guys. Go ahead, throw it on the YouTube.
No, it's on there. It's on there. You see it, Mark? Do you see it on YouTube?
Yeah, I can see it on the YouTubes.
Yeah. It's there. You might want to tell that that artist to put it on her website so she can sell prints.
I will buy a print. I would spend good money on like a litho of that.
Oh, that's funny. I love it. John Massey says that is fantastic. I agree, John.
It only cost me $100 to have a young woman in the Ukraine to paint it for me.
$100, well spent. Oh, there we go. Whoops, forgot to do that. I'm between the Preakness and Bob Baffert getting knocked down. Mark, what are your top two?
Preakness is number one, Personal Instance 2.
Caleb has got the Preakness number 1, and Bob Baffert getting knocked down as 2. So Mark has got. You got the Personal Ensign 1 or 2?
No, 2. Preakness is 1, Personal Instance 2.
Caleb or Chase.
Bob Baffert 1, Preakness 2, Personal Ensign 3.
So
well, that should decide it right there.
Unfortunately, it seems like the Preakness is going to win here because we got 3 number 1 votes and we got 1 number 2 vote. So as much as we love that art, and Dennis is disappointed. Oh, Dennis is just barely showing up. Oh, Dennis is already making calls. Dennis is on your side too. Bob Baffert getting knocked down. But I think I just thought the Preakness was a cool race, and I just thought the story was great. I thought it was phenomenal. I just like it's everything you want to see, right? Like you want to see these connections. You want to see this small time sire that we decided to sell to Turkey. Decided to come ahead and sire this top horse. And this horse, the most important thing I think about Swiss Skydiver, and the thing that I like the most about Swiss Skydiver, is Swiss Skydiver ran in every single race this year. Every single big race Swiss Skydiver ran. And
she always shows up.
And she always showed up. And she just always, I mean, I don't like she I know this is our last award, but she's just a cool horse. Like she just always showed up, and I think that I think the Preakness was definitely the race or moment of the year. Kind of a redemption story a little bit for Robbie Alvarado. I mean, he's kind of a piece of shit from what I've read, and got into some legal trouble. Supposedly he's turned it around. I'm not one. I don't know him. I don't know everything, so I try not to judge. But it just seemed like there were a lot of different like story arcs coming from that Preakness win. So yeah, I feel real good with the Preakness being our race or moment of the year. Let's move forward here. We got male horse of the year. We got 5 nominees. All right, we got Authentic, we got Whitmore, Improbable, Tom's d'Etat, Tis the Law. I'm going to see if chat comes up with any others here that we may have missed.
We have no turf horse on there, do we?
No, but I mean, like, who would we put on there? Channel
Nobody.
Maker?
No, I was trying to think of
The Chads took turns beating each other.
glass slippers, maybe, but
Yeah.
yeah, I can't think of a good male turf horse.
Well,
that I
what's
would want
funny
to
is
put
we
on
were
there.
actually going to do 3-year-old of the year too, but like, I don't know. I didn't feel. I didn't love this 3-year-old crop. I know people had said uh, that this is like one of the deepest crops we had. I don't know if deepest is the right word as much as like evenly matched, I guess. Um, but I think the first horse I'm kind of toss out is going to be Tis the Law. I think of the I
His
think of
back end of the season just wasn't good enough to be here.
yeah.
He tailed off, and or here he hit his ceiling. He just hit that level. So yeah, agreed. I think he goes.
Yeah, I just think that I think that Tis the Law. Unfortunately, um, if we had a May Derby, I think we have a little bit different story because Tis the Law seemed to have
I think you might
peaked.
have a triple crown winner if you have it a May
Yeah,
Derby.
Tis the Law peaked at the right time at for a normal 3-year-old season, and he just didn't. With the way things got delayed, I just didn't think he showed up in some of these important races. Um, and I can kind of say the same thing for Tom's d'Etat. Had a really great
Yeah,
year, and then when we kind of needed him the most, or wanted him the most, or really wanted him to just his cement that, hey, this is his year and this is going to be it. He just fell a little bit flat. And I didn't do much running at all in that classic. But I mean, he still had a great year. I mean, I definitely think that he's still one of the top 5 horses this year. Like, I just don't think that he was number one.
I would agree with you there. Yeah, I mean, he definitely it is classic. It's hard to sort of excuse that. And in his Woodward, he ran his eyeballs out. I don't know if there was a big long break there. I have a feeling something was up that they didn't try to get a prep into him. So yeah, I agreed. I think he had a great spring and didn't continue it into the fall, and that's what we're looking for here.
Yeah. Whitmore, another horse, had a really great year. I thought that he started off the year on fire, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the year he kind of fell off a cliff, and then came back and won the sprint. So I I mean, awesome campaign. Like I said, for any other like really really great campaign. I just like I don't know. He kind of just like tailed off in the middle of the year and kind of lost a couple. Was it like 2 races in a row and
He lost two in a row. Whitmore, I'll make Whitmore for me is horse of the year. He's going to be my top pick, and the reason is simply this: he had a 3 in a row win streak in the spring with a G1 in there, and I think the count fleet is G3 maybe. Chase would know what the count fleet level is, but graded stakes win there at Oak Lawn. He then had 2 races where one race was too far. They ran 7 furlongs, and that's just further than he wants to go. And the other race was where they were absolutely walking until the top of the stretch, and he was doing everything he could, to try to get to the winner, and just had no pace set up whatsoever. Just didn't have that pace he needs to run into. So I can kind of excuse those two, and then he won the most important race of the year for sprinters. He won the race for his division, and he had an entire campaign. He had 3 races in the spring. He had 1 race in the fall. Very few of these horses here, these other horses, actually have a complete campaign. They actually ran multiple times and they won in multiple parts of the year. They just didn't get good for 2 races and then disappear. So I think to me, he's the most impressive on here.
Chase, is that you dipping into the backup beer?
That's me finishing the backup beer.
Oh no. Chase, what do you think here? We're down to 3. We got Authentic, we got Whitmore, we got Improbable.
I mean, I know you're asking me out of courtesy because we know how I feel about 2 of these horses. Man, it's Whitmore. It's Whitmore. This is one of the times when the Academy gets it right, and the best picture, best director, best actor all go to the same film. it's got to be Whitmore. It has to be Whitmore because fuck Authentic, as we've discussed. Fuck Improbable, as I've said many times. I wake up and say fuck Improbable 5 times before breakfast. So yeah, I mean it's Whitmore. The feel good story. It's the feel good horse. The horse gets it done, and yeah, I think the big guy deserves it. The big guy's been around a lot longer than all these other horses that are probably going to be retired within 6 months.
Yeah, unfortunately, both Caleb and I have picked Authentic as the horse of the year here. And
what's the transcendent race that he ran? I mean, I get it. You got the classic that he won, where this track was juiced all to hell and speed was phenomenal, and no one pressed him early. So you can make that in a pretty good argument. That was a pace to pace situation. What's the other race and who
Derby?
did he beat? So, I guess Tiz couldn't get to him.
What's that Monmouth race he won?
The Haskell?
The Haskell, right? He beat my favorite horse, New York Traffic. Fuck that horse.
Yeah, like I said, a race with no horses in it, with no quality in it. So who's come out of the Haskell and run it?
Dude, the amount of money I lost on New York Traffic off
Josh,
that Haskell effort.
This isn't about your poor betting habits.
No, I just I have a hard time getting around the Classic and Derby winner in the same year. I mean, they're the two most important distance races.
They both come up as fluky wins to me. That's my thing, and I think that the story
fool me once, shame on you.
I think the story behind Whitmore.
Fool me twice, won't get fooled again.
I think you have a good guy trainer in Whitmore, and the other two in here do not. I think there are always going to be questions, haunting all of these Baffert horses. Without being juiced to the gills, are either of those two anything more than just okay? Probably not. I think Whitmore is just more impressive. The story, the longevity, the resume he had this year, it's all there.
It's like when Denzel won the Academy Award for Training Day when he really should have won it for Malcolm X. This has become more of a lifetime achievement sort of thing, and you got to give it to Whitmore on lifetime achievement.
I mean, will Authentic or Improbable ever run again? Probably not.
Well, Authentic's already retired.
Okay, Improbable, is he ever gonna?
Still scared to medal things. Last time I checked.
Like I'm cool taking Improbable off, but. I mean, at that point, we're at a deadlock here. Oh, why do you have to do this to me? Keep pounding. He says, I told Josh I was worried about Authentic wiring the BC, and he assured me there was plenty of pace.
Assured.
Oh.
This feels more like reparations than anything else, Josh. Your Authentic pick it feels like a 40 acres and a mule here that you're giving out.
Yeah, it does. It really does. And Dennis, Dennis, no.
I mean, I just think as far as important races go, the Breeders' Cup Classic and the Derby, I think, are both more important than the Sprint.
Shows what you know.
I wouldn't disagree with you. I kind of think that you're missing the point there, though.
I'm not budging.
Also not budging. I'm not giving this to a Baffert horse.
Where the hell is Caleb? Oh,
even with Caleb, it's split.
Yep, it's a dead split. I mean, I don't see how. Keep pounding. Looks like he's going to be the tiebreaker here. That he says Authentic should win.
So if you buy enough merch, you two can have a deciding vote.
Sure.
Pay for play, baby. Pay for play.
I mean, who would be your second choice? Because my second choice wouldn't be Whitmore.
for male horse of the year.
Yeah.
Howard
Authentic, probably.
Dale Tar. Dale Tar would be my choice for
Tar?
my second choice for male horse of the year, even though he's the centaur.
John Massey says that we choose authentic and then DQ upon further review.
Oh, he's gonna pop a. He's in the breeding shed now, so he can't pop a positive. But
we take it away 3 weeks from now.
I mean, didn't Authentic have multiple drug violations in 1 year?
I don't know if
he had any.
Got popped.
I thought. Oh, okay, maybe not.
If it's got to be split, it's got to be split.
Right,
Me and Mark are budging.
We're gonna leave it. We're gonna leave it split. We're gonna leave it split as the horse of the year here with both or male horse of the year with both Authentic and Whitmore, which means I think I know who horse of the year is gonna end up being.
As it should be.
Female horse of the year. Here we go. I think this is a pretty tough one. I'm going to start just kind of eliminating some horses here that I think are a step below. Serengeti Empress, as much as I love this horse and as much money as this horse has made me, I just think this year, they turned her into a sprinter. I think that going 7 furlongs, I think is probably might be the right move. I don't know. I still think that if she gets into slightly longer races. Okay, well, let's back it up. Why is Gamine on here? You really think Gamine matches up with these horses?
Gamine beat Serengeti Empress, and I thought Serengeti Empress was deserving of being on here, so you have to, right?
Yeah, Serengeti Empress fine, but Gamine? You really think Gamine belongs on here?
Gamine beat Serengeti Empress.
Oh.
No. I think your multiple drug pops on Gamine just completely.
Well, I mean, I think she has to be in the consideration. She won a Breeders' Cup race, was amazingly impressive in doing so, and yeah, I mean, I no way she's the female horse of the year. She's about my 20th pick, but I think at least she has to be in the consideration. You at least have to bring the name up, and I also think a lot of times this type of thing, whether it be Eclipse Awards or whatever, focus too much on classic distances. And there's something to be said about really good sprinters or really good marathoners or really good turf horses. Let's have all the divisions, represented. And I think they both go well. I agreed.
I really think that I'm gonna cut Serengeti Empress here. I don't think that she what do we have? We had 8 horses on this list. I think she's probably top, of American horse, top 5 American horse, American female horses here.
American female dirt, sure, top 5. Yeah.
That definitely. I'm gonna cut her here because I don't think that she's number 1 in this case. Unfortunately for her, she's gonna. It sounds like they're gonna just keep trying to sprint her, but she's won both sprinting and routing.
Better. She has, obviously she won the Oaks, but her game is speed and tons of it, and she seems to be a fairly sound horse as well. So I think probably a mile is sort of I don't know. I mean, she seems to be able to do it all. Really good ones can. So she's classy as hell.
Tarnawa and Magical both ran their eyeballs out in the turf. We are an American show. We care more about dirt racing. I'm cutting both of them because I really think that this is
you're going to cut the first and second best turf horses in the world.
I don't know. I tend to agree with Josh. I think more of just.
You're cutting Rushing Fall next, then, right?
Here's the thing.
Absolutely.
Rushing Fall. The Rushing Fall's problem is the same as Tom's d'Etat. Rushing Fall likes a range of distances that is just outside the biggest races in her division. There are still G1s in that division, But the filly and mare turf, unfortunately, runs a little bit longer than Rushing Fall wants to run.
You're not wrong, and yeah. So I would cut Rushing Fall before I would cut Magical Eternal.
All right, I'm gonna cut Rushing Fall before, and then I'm gonna cut the other two turf horses. All right, we're down to 3. Midnight Bisou got injured, fell off a cliff. Love Midnight Bisou. Last year was a very deserving winner of this award. Just ran her eyeballs out.
She's an obvious cutter. That's yeah.
We're down to 2 though. We're down to Monomoy Girl and Swiss Skydiver. I'm going to tell you right now.
1A and 1B for me, honestly. I mean, the way Monomoy finished out her career is amazing. Like if I'm going to consider Whitmore based on like a lifetime body of work and lifetime achievement type thing, then I honestly probably have to give the nod to Monomoy over Swiss Skydiver. Though I do think Swiss Skydiver did something extremely notable by winning the Preakness, winning a race for the boys. Granted, it in a very weird year, she did it, but she did it nonetheless. But just seriously, the way that Monomoy finished for the hot cacks, I think I got to go Monomoy over Swiss Skydiver, though I do think that both are deserving.
The crazy thing about Monomoy is she had that long-ass layoff and then just didn't miss a step. Just came back and just won everything. And, I think that Swiss Skydiver in any other year without a Monomoy Girl type horse wins this award. Beat the boys in the Preakness. It's kind of a weird year. But Monomoy Girl did it over the entire year.
If Swiss Skydiver had won the Oaks, it's a much closer contest. You have to give it to Monomoy Girl, though, I think.
I agree. I think this is a unanimous. Caleb also has this as his number 1 pick. My number 1 pick. It sounds like it's our other 2 number 1 picks. No disrespect to Swiss Skydiver. I think Swiss Skydiver is. I just hope that her 4-year-old campaign could be just like one of the greatest 4-year-old campaigns ever. I mean, I don't know. We're like
sky's the limit. They can put her anywhere. The longer they go, the better she gets. She's a horse you point for the Breeders' Cup Classic and make the boys beat her.
What's that weird race? Isn't that Delaware race? It's like the only race of the year that like they run the fillies 1.25 miles.
The Delaware Oaks.
Is it Delaware Handicap?
Yeah, isn't that like one of the only ones that they run like at 1.25 miles?
Oh, the Delaware Oaks. Yeah. It is. It's a weird distance for the fillies. They do run it, but I think it's more of a graded stakes. It may be the only one.
Or is it a Saratoga race? There's some race that they actually run at 1.25 miles or like a mile and like
personal ensign's a mile. Personal ensign's 1.25 miles.
Yeah, maybe that's one thing. Personal ensign.
Is the Alabama not 1.25 miles?
No, Alabama's for 3-year-olds at 1.125 miles.
I can never keep these names and distances straight, but Monomoy Girl is going to be our female horse of the year, and that's going to lead us into our last category here. We got horse of the year. I'm actually going to add a very missed horse. I don't know how we missed Monomoy Girl.
Yes, John, the Dunbar Road invite.
And I'm also going to add Swiss Skydiver in here for horse of the year. So we got horse of the year. So Flapjack, Mark's favorite horse.
Favorite.
I think is going to have to be the first one to get cut from here, Mark. I'm sorry.
But the problem is somebody's top pick also was Flapjack.
I mean, I'm sorry, but he's not here to defend himself, so I'm going to have to toss that out. A G1 winner combatant won the big cap, and I think is about 2 years away from being a cool horse, and another G1 win away, but I don't know.
Those will never happen.
I don't know if either of those will ever happen. I had hopes that he was going to come off that G1 win and show he was a different horse. He went back.
I've had tons of combatant hopes over the years. Let's just fucking move on.
Yeah. I think 'tis the law on this list. does not hold a candle to the rest of these horses. Tis the Law had a great first 7 or 8 months and then just fell off a cliff.
If they run the Derby in May, then I think Tis the Law is a strong contender to actually win the Derby.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the horse didn't necessarily age well for Saratoga. So yeah, I think you gotta cut Tis the Law.
It's a funny thing about these horses, right? You can cut them off these lists, but they can't cut you.
By the way, John Massey's correcting me in chat. John is correcting me in chat. I did misspeak. The Alabama is a mile and a quarter. Not
Alabama, that's what I'm thinking of.
Boom!
Improbable is gonna be the next one I cut off this list. I think Improbable had a really good year. Proved some people wrong with his distance limitations, or I thought he was poised to have a good year this year. Regardless, scratch from that one race that I was very, very interested in him in, and went out to have a really, really good was a 4-year-old campaign, but just didn't win the Classic, which is the race that you need to win as the best 4-year-old.
I'm going very much. I know I've been going very much Festivus, airing of the grievances and everything. I will admit, Improbable had a much better year than I ever would have expected Improbable to have.
Mark, it looks like you want to say something.
No. Yeah, keep going.
Yep, I think Improbable should, probably 3rd or 4th best horse of the year, but I definitely don't think he's the best horse of the year. So we're gonna cut him out here. That leaves us with 4 horses, which are the last 2 horses we had left in our male and female horse of the year. I actually have a pretty clear cut choice. I think it's the right pick. I feel good about making this pick.
Don't say it.
I think that
don't say it.
Any other year, I would have my first and second choice flipped, but with the way this year went and the stuff that kind of came to the surface, I had to flip these 2 choices. And so I'm going to say that Monomoy Girl is my horse of the year.
I agree. I'm going to agree with you. That's I think you have to go Monomoy Girl.
Yeah, Monomoy Girl is mine as well. Whitmore number is second.
If we had a normal year and maybe, we don't see all the drug positives, maybe we don't see all the real bad excuses, maybe we don't see all of the, all that stuff. And look I'm not in the barn. I don't know anything about an actual horse, right? I just bet on them. And so I really do have to take these people to their word. But when you hear some of these explanations that, poor Jimmy Barnes, something happened with his medication, or look, I understand it's a business, it's a sport. Every other sport has the same exact problems that horse racing does. Everyone's always looking for an edge. And if your livelihood is based upon it, I guess I'm not going to come out here and just morally judge you for doing what you think you need to do to win. Whatever. We could talk about this till the cows come home. But I think when you have 2 horses that are kind of 1 and 1A, and the difference is that you have one trainer who had 0 drug positives and another trainer who had multiple drug positives, I think you got to lean towards the horse that, won every single race she ran. And as far as we know, the trainer's clean.
Yeah, I agree. At some point, you have to. you have to sort of look beyond the intrinsics of just the numbers, and you have to look towards the whole entire story, the whole campaign, the whole history. And I think, there's got to be an asterisk next to authentic. And he walked the walk, and he won the races he was supposed to, but it feels dirty. And I think Monomoy Girl doesn't feel dirty like that to me. So I have no problem with that whatsoever.
Monomoy Girl.
Yeah, I think
It's
that
the year of the filly.
And you know what? Yeah, I think if in any other normal year, if Swiss Skydiver wins that Preakness, I mean Swiss Skydiver wins 3-year-old filly of the year, and and I absolutely think we didn't have a 3-year-old or a 3-year-old filly of the year just because it seemed kind of redundant, and it was kind of a weird year, and we knew this was going to run a little long anyways. But I think that Swiss Skydiver and Monomoy Girl both had probably the best campaigns of 2020. Authentic peaked late. Peaked late, won the 2 important races of the year. But like you said, Mark, where was he the rest of the year? He was like Baffert's 4th or 5th best horse at some point. And
yeah. If Charlatan doesn't test positive for lidocaine, if Nadal isn't retired, we're probably talking about those 2 horses instead of authentic. I think you do have to take that into consideration.
I mean, I will give it to authentic. It's not like he just showed the second half of the year. He won the Sham and he won the San Felipe. Obviously, Honor AP was in the San Felipe, so was Storm the Court. Then got beat by Honor AP in the Santa Anita Derby. Then randomly just massively improves to go Haskell Derby, get beat by a Swiss Skydiver in the Preakness, and then win the Breeders' Cup Classic. So he ran a full campaign.
He was a gentleman. He let Swiss Skydiver pass because he was such a nice.
No, Swiss Skydiver just wasn't going to give way.
But yeah, I just think that Monomoy Girl had top to bottom the best campaign.
Agreed.
Thirded.
I didn't think that would be the easy one, but damn.
I mean, look, as much as I'm a semi-Baffert apologist, and as much as I tend to lean on him fairly heavily in big races because his horses just show up. When I have 2 horses that I would feel good about naming as my horse of the year, but I know one, at least to the best of my knowledge, did it the right way and was undefeated, and the other and off a long layoff, and just, I mean, I there's nothing. Monomoy Girl couldn't have done anything more this year. There's literally nothing more that you could ask for. So I just think that it made it a pretty easy choice.
Now, if Sayers didn't give Valiance the worst ride in the history of the Breeders' Cup, we might have a different conversation. But yeah, it's clearly Monomoy Girl. And I'm not spiteful at all about that. Not at all.
Not at all.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for us. We'll do a quick real recap here. We have Trainer of the Year, Brad Cox. Jockey of the Year, Joel Rosario. Fuck That Horse, Authentic. Disco Partner Coolest Horse Award, Whitmore. Racer Moment of the Year, the Preakness. Male Horse of the Year, we have a tie between Authentic and Whitmore. Female Horse of the Year, we have Monomoy Girl. And just overall Horse of the Year, we have Monomoy Girl. We got anything? We got anything we want to add to this? You guys got any comments, questions, concerns?
I don't think so. Let's hope 2021 is a little bit more of a normal year. Get back into the normal swing of things, normal campaigns. I'm very excited to see a lot of the 2-year-olds that I saw at Saratoga and some of the ones that came out in Keeneland. Some of the Kentucky Downs horses come back and run as older, see who steps forward. Hopefully we have a normal year. I think it's going to be, obviously, we picked Brad Cox, and I think he's going to have a massive year. I think Todd Fletcher is going to have a really massive year. His barn looks loaded. Bill Mott
due for a big year.
Yeah, I think you saw some Bill Mott firsters fire, and when Bill Mott has firsters that fire, that horse is a monster. So, and he knows how to kind of keep them right. So there's a few trainers that I think is going to be interesting. I think there's a lot of horses I'm really excited to see, and I'm really looking forward to this year.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this year. I think this is going to be not just a good year, I think, for horse racing, but selfishly, I think it's going to be a good year for us. We got a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline. We got some content. We got some plans coming down here. So we're going to go ahead and we'll be posting some stuff. I know Caleb is going to be working on something, I think, for Santa Anita. We're going to try and get some regular stuff out for that. Chase and I are going to be doing some aqueduct stuff, mostly via the podcast, but we'll talk a little bit more about maybe doing some written stuff. And he's always got his sheet going up in Discord. Mark, we're gonna work on some tournament stuff, I think, though. And talk a little bit more about we're gonna get some more of that beginner content up. We got a plan kind of going forward, but we'll wait till we have stuff confirmed before we kind of release that stuff. But at least look forward to Chase and I. We're gonna be doing that Aqueduct opening day podcast next week. Caleb, I think, is gonna have an article up, and then we'll kind of go there. But Stewart's already, or Keep Pounding's asking for Malibu picks. I haven't looked yet, but we'll take a look at what Caleb comes up with on his write up.
Merry Christmas, everybody!
Yeah, Merry Christmas, guys.
Christmas.
We're Central Time. We're a little less than 3 hours away from Christmas Eve. So everyone have a Merry Christmas. Have some good time off. Stay safe. And we'll catch you guys on the flip side.
The flippy floppy.
New exit saying. I like it.
I mean, I think it's just the bourbon talking.